databases, you get some citations, and so now the question becomes, well, how do I get these articles? And that's sort of the most complicated sort of step, in my opinion, here. Because we do have so many different resources that don't play nicely together that we have to look at different things to see this. So what I have here is in my database, I've got these different results that I have. And when we look at the first two, what you'll notice is that we've got PDF full text. So these, we actually can just click on PDF full text and it should pull up. Now, if we look at this, there's a couple of other things I want to point out in here before we get into actually finding the journal. And mostly it's because this information, we need this. So when we look at this, let's pretend that there's no full text here, okay? What we have is the title, Post-Grazing Changes of Vegetation in Big Bend National Park. That's the title of our article. Now, the source is Southwestern Naturalist, December of 2010, Volume 55, Issue 4, pages 493 to 500. This is the main information that we need, because what we want to do is find out whether we have Southwestern Naturalist. We need to find out if we have the journal, so that we can find out if we've got the journal that's got the article in it. And then there's some other information here that deals with sort of what this is about. You know, you have subject terms, geographic terms, etc. And also, a lot of these, and unfortunately this is a bad example, should have an abstract or a summary of the article. Not all of them do, as you can see, this one doesn't. Now when we look down here in this notes field, this is a field that has to be taken with a grain of salt. What this tells me in the notes field is that Sul Ross has a current print subscription to this title. Now, we're looking at Southwestern Naturalist. It's full text already, so we don't necessarily have to do another step. But if you see a journal in here that's got this notes field that's not full text, what this is telling you is that at some point, Sul Ross subscribed to this journal. It only matches titles. I really hate the fact it says current print subscription because it's not always the case. But what this tells us is that at some point Sul Ross subscribed to this title. What we have to do is check the PHL, the periodical holdings list, to see if we have the issue that we're looking for of December of 2010. So you might see that. It's a pretty good indication that we have it, but it's not 100%. So if it's not full text, we have to check another list. Now, let me look here. There's one from Southwestern Naturalist. Here's one from the American Journal of Botany. It also indicates that Sul Ross has a current print subscription to this title, but it's not full text. So this one we'll have to check and see if we have it full text. And this journal, I know about this journal. Sorry. And then we have, there's the International Journal of Plant Sciences. It's full text. I'm trying to find one that's not. Okay, here it is. This one is the Journal of Vertebrate Paleontology. And you'll see in this notes field it says, if full text is not available here, consult the periodicals and electronic format list. What this tells me is that Sul Ross has never had a print subscription to this title. So right there, by seeing that note, I already know that there's really no sense in checking the PHL. We don't have it in print. However, we might have it electronically, and so we'll have to check that as well. And so the thing is, if you are able to sort of read these notes and be able to interpret them, you get a pretty good sense of what we have, but it's all about being able to interpret it. And so when I see this, I say, okay, I'm going to have to check the PEF for these journals. So I've got all these citations. Usually what happens is I leave my list up here and in my screen, open a new window, open a new tab so that I can flip back and forth. So I'm going to open a new tab and go back to the library's homepage. Because what I have to do now is I kind of have to start from square one. I have to go back to the library's homepage because now, instead of finding articles in research databases, now I need to browse journals. When I get to browse journals, we have a whole bunch of different journal areas available here. And you'll see we have this My Delicious Bookmarks, Archive of African Journals. These are free journals. These are ones that I'm not going to tell you not to use. However, I will tell you that they tend to be focused in Africa and in South America. So, and they're free. So you can look at them, but whether or not they're going to give you what you need is a good question. They may or may not. We have some different journal collections, such as the DOAJ and SAGE journals. And those are just some specific ones that we have that you can kind of browse through. The problem is they're not very searchable. And so what we really want for our purposes today is the PHL, which is the Periodical Holdings List. This is a listing of all the journals that we have in print out here on the second floor. And the PEF, the Periodicals in Electronic Format, which is a list of all the journals that we have electronically. And unfortunately, these lists don't play nice together, so we have to check both of them. Alright, so here we have open the PHL, and here's the PEF. So, what we need to do, and this is why I have all these tabs open, because by the time I get here, I have totally forgotten what I'm looking for. So, I'm going to go back over here and look for my journal title, and I actually want to look at number 8 here. Number 8 is the Journal of Herpetology, and when we look at it, the notes indicate that Solar Ross has a current print subscription to this title. Keep that in mind while we look at the Journal of Herpetology. Oh, and I like to copy and paste because I'm a real bad speller, so we can just copy and paste our titles in here. And you can do, in Adobe Reader, you should be able to find a find box up there. If not, you can always do Control F and it will open a find box for you. Also, we do have our journals. We've got little alphabetical bookmarks that you can look at as well. Honestly, I find that just searching for the title is much easier because we do have so many journals. All right, whoops, I went too far. Okay, pretend like that didn't happen. Okay, there we go. Journal of Herpetology. Okay, so here we have the Journal of Herpetology. And what this tells me as I look at the title is that we began carrying it with Volume 3 in 1969. 1970, we're missing some issues. We picked it back up in 1971, and we have it until the current issue. This is the most beautiful citation. When you look up here, for example, you'll see that this journal, which is Journal of Heredity, we carried it from 1914 to 2009. We picked it back up in 2011, but we've got a bunch of issues on microfilm. It continues a former title, etc. So when you're looking for these titles, it's not really just enough to look at the title. You need to look at this detailed information too. Because what this tells me is if I needed an article from Volume 4, which is 1970, of the Journal of Herpetology, and I need it out of issue number 3, well, it looks like we may be missing some of those issues. So even though I have my citation, it says that we've got it, I go up there, and we don't have it. So one of the things to do is really make sure that you get familiar with this list, because it's going to save you a lot of time, and it will save me and Linda both a lot of headaches. We'll say, oh, didn't you look there? We already have it. All right, so that's electronic or print. So we have the Journal of Herpetology in print. And we also want to check over here, and this is the PEF, the electronic list for the Journal of Herpetology. And when I look here, we have the Journal of Herpetology electronically as well. So we have it in Academic Search Complete, 2010 to the present, though. So the one that we were looking at, what is that issue? It's like 2008 or something, I think, isn't it? September of 2009. So because it's September of 2009, I kind of got crazy. We don't have it in Academic Search Complete because we only started carrying it full text from 2010. If we look in Biological and Agricultural Index, though, from 1998 to the present, so we'll have that. We also have it in something called Bio 1 from 2002 to the present, and in something called Wilson from 1998 to the present. So the Journal of Herpetology, when we look at it over here, you know, it looks like we don't have it. It doesn't look like you have access to it or anything like that. But when we look at those two those two lists, we can see that, yeah, we have it electronically and we have it in print. You know, there's no reason to curse the library because we don't have what you need. We actually do have it. So the other one that I wanted you to look at as well is a journal that's called Southwestern Naturalist. And I just want to show this real quick because you'll see this occasionally as well. We have a lot of journals that we dropped the print in favor of electronic within the last 5 to 10 years. And why did that? Oh, maybe because I can't spell. Southwestern Naturalist. And we, like I said, we have a lot of journals that we drop the print in favor of the electronic, and Southwestern Naturalist happens to be one of those. And so what you'll see here in this particular citation, we have it until 2005. Now we also have it electronically, but I just want you to be aware of that. So if you come across one of these journals where it indicates we stopped carrying it in 2005, make sure that you check the electronic, because it's a good chance that it's one of those that we dropped in favor of the electronic. Okay, now, I guess we already did. Maybe that was the citation. All right, does anybody have any questions about that? Did that answer some of your questions?
Yes.
Okay, all right.